I love the music. That was Todd Oliver that you just saw, and Todd Oliver is joining us right now. And that was his band, The Smiling Eyes, that are going to be performing tonight in Cozad. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And his sidekick, Irving.
Great to be here. Great to be here. I'm happy to say I'm the new host here of the show. Thank you. I have never had such lovely co-hosts. Just get rid of the ugly guy next to me, okay? All right. Now let me just say it's great to be here. All right. Yeah. And I can tell I got a great sense of smell. Carol, you're wearing Chanel No. 3. All right, what about me? You ain't had a shower in 3 days. Stop it.
Wow. Very sensitive.
Irving, you are a good dog. He's a dog of many words, right?
Well, if I ain't, he'll starve.
So you had a good question during the break.
I don't remember asking.
How was it being Irving's sidekick?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I as a ventriloquist, you know, my job is a straight man. You know, he's the funny guy, and that's always the way it's been. And you know, as a ventriloquist, people always want to hear what the dog. Watch it. All right. I mean, what the dog has to say, and it really makes my job, I think, easier than sometimes a stand-up comedian. You know, I think so. Yeah.
But I love the idea of where a lot of people first saw you on America's Got Talent.
Oh, yes.
Probably the first ventriloquist with a talking live dog on the show that they've seen, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that whole experience, and because you were in the semifinals, you were down to the last
4. Yeah.
So from auditions to that, well, tell us about that experience.
Well, here's what happened. I had left the show about Nashville because my daughter started school. We wanted to do our own show if we'd have more time. The night before we were supposed to open at this theater in Branson, a tornado ripped the ceiling off the roof off the theater, right? So I was knocked out of work for 3 months. And America's Got Talent had called a couple times because they use professionals and amateurs. They use both to balance out the show. And they had called a few times, but I had turned them down because I had already done a couple Tonight shows and David Letterman's Ventriloquist Week, and we even did some Walker, Texas Rangers a few years back, you know.
That was such a good show.
Yeah. That Chuck Norris, yeah. Why? He bit me first. Well, anyways, so I done all those shows, but I turned it down because I thought, well, I don't really think this is for me. I was wrong. It had been about 5 years since I'd done any television. I think and so I said, oh, I better do it because we're out of work now. You know, we could use the publicity. And I found out it gets more viewership than a lot of the late night talk shows combined, you know. So they arranged an audition for me, kind of like a private audition, because they knew of me, you know, they knew about me, right? So so I went and I did it, and then, you know, next thing I know, we're on the show, and we debuted at the Fox Theater in St. Louis. And it was just great, you know.
Wow.
And then we went to Vegas, and I had to do my act in front of just the 3 judges, which was interesting, because I had done Howie Mandel's talk show back in 1999 when he was on CBS. And you know, he acted like he didn't know me. You know,
because he was it was Howie
and Sharon and Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, yeah.
So I did my act, and you know, remember that time we were in Vegas? We did it for Howie and Sharon and Howard. Yeah, it looked like the audience came in one car. but so we did that, and you know, and then we just went on, and then we got voted off, and then they brought us back as a wild card, and then we went on and on and on.
Wow.
And but you know, we lost to the Sandman. That's right, I got back at him. What'd you do? Teed in the Sand Dogs.
Oh, so, my, that'll get him. The Sandman, what did the Sandman do?
Yeah, he made pictures.
Yes, I remember
this hippie guy that made pictures. It was beautiful, really. He did beautiful work.
I do remember that.
But it was a great experience. You know, it challenged me to write more topical material for the time. I've always worked clean. You know, a lot of comedy in America today is blue. You know, it's very successful. But I've never worked that way. I've never felt comfortable that way. I never thought that a dirty talking dummy would be my style. You know?
Yeah.
So we've always worked in a family-oriented way, and but it was more challenging to write topical material about what was going on. So it was really good, you know. We had a good time. They treated us great, you know, and
good challenge.
Yeah, it was a good challenge. Yeah.
Well, good. You know, and we're going to tell you where you can meet Irving and Todd Oliver tonight for their performance, and give you a little bit more about what they will be doing when we come back from this break. Stay with us.